Hey all, Tom Moran here from Tom's Big Spiders. Well, I've had several people ask for an update on my Theraphosa, apophysis, or apophysis females. I have 2 of them that I'm raising up, and I'm happy to oblige because both of them need rehousing. So we went ahead and recorded one of them here to kind of show where she's at now, show what I'm putting her into as a sub-adult. She'll probably be getting a final enclosure later on. We'll talk about that in the outro. But anyway, the Theraphosa, apophysis, or apophysis is also known as the Pinkfoot Goliath. This giant moisture-loving terrestrial can be found in Colombia, Venezuela, and Brazil. Fast-growing, leggy. This is a true giant with specimens hitting 10 to 12 inches, which is obviously a huge spider. They belong to the genus Theraphosa, which has 3 of the biggest spiders in the world. Also, obviously, the Theraphosa sturmi and the Theraphosa blondie. The big difference between them and the sturmi and the blondie are those pink feet when they're little, and the fact they tend to be a bit more gangly. So, enough talking, let's get into the actual rehousing, some care notes on Theraphosa apophysis, or the Pinkfoot baboon. All right, so we're about to rehouse one of my Theraphosa apophysis or apophysis young adults. Picked these up in, I believe it was June of 2020, as I mentioned in a previous video. And I'm going to direct people to the previous video at the end of this one who are looking at tips on how to keep these, because I kind of did a really thorough one there. But for some reason, we didn't do a housing of them. But what I originally had them in was something around 1 to 2 quarts. It was one of the M-Design kitchen pantry storage containers, and I'll flash some pictures up of the one that this one was in. They go about 6.5 inches by 5 inches by 4 inches. The thing with these guys is not only do they start large as slings, so this one was probably over 1.25 inches as a sling, but they also grow very quickly, or very leggy. So you want to give them something that has some room. You also want to give them something that has a bit of depth to it, because this is a moisture-dependent species. And one of the things you want to do is give it depth so you can keep those lower levels moist and keep the top levels dry. She's starting to wander around a little bit. When she spreads out, she is like, it's bonkers. She's very, very leggy. But I see one of the mistakes I see with people that keep moisture-dependent species is they don't put in enough substrate, and then they keep adding water to it, so it keeps everything very moist on the top. You can let the top dry out a bit, give them a burrow, let them dig down to the moisture level that they need. What she is in now is one of the M-Design stackable closet storage boxes. We rehouse her, and I'll show some footage of it here, at about 4.5 inches or so. Now these go about 12.75 inches by 7.25 inches by 7 inches. Decent sized ones. I like them for juveniles, but again, it's been about a year. We rehoused her, I believe, in May of 2021. So it's been just over a year or so, and she's ready for another rehousing. So what we're gonna do now, while she's kind of exploring a bit, is I'm going to get her from point A to point B. I am, as you'll see in a moment, wearing gloves and long sleeves because the hairs on these guys are not pleasant at all. And for the bonehead no, this is not going to be good. No.
Oh,
no.
golly.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Let me get this one here.
Bonehead that way?
What the heck was I saying?
About a bonehead or something.
Oh, there's going to inevitably be a bonehead that says, what are you, a baby, or something. They usually use other words because I don't want to get haired. I have terrible allergies. I itch constantly as it is. It's not pleasant, and I don't want to have to itch if I don't have to. Yeah, you get that out of the way. That in there. I was trying to get all the notes done before she inevitably... Let me turn this a little bit so you can see better. I was going to use Simply Limeade, but I think this one's going to be a better one because of the leg span. And there she goes kicking. Remind me, no. You don't want to do that. Make sure I don't have feet in there. So she looks all scrunched up. The difference between these guys and the other Theraphosa, the sturmi and the blondie, is in the girth. I guess that's not probably the word I wanted. The heftiness. They're a lot, the blondie and the sturmi are a lot more stout. They have thicker legs. They, as slings, they are definitely very gangly, but they tend to thicken up as adults. They're a lot more beefy. We'll use the term beefy. I'm not sure where girth came from. And these guys tend to be a lot more leggy. You'll see, hopefully we'll get an image of her all stretched out so that you can see what she's like. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and carefully... No, I don't want you climbing in there. That's not what the plan is. So, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and try to get her. I did give her a starter burrow, so I'm hoping that in the very least this will give her a place to hide. No, no, no. Not like a threat pose from like a 7.5-inch spider. There we go. Now stop kicking. I'm going to have to wash this cup. We have to do as a nest of species after this, and they are notorious kickers. Oh, look at those clouds of, I don't know if you can just zoom in on her butt for a minute so people can see the hairs there. All those white spotches in there, those are the hairs. That's what they kick. Those are very irritating. So if you're just watching this video and don't know a lot about tarantulas, we have New World and Old World species. New World species from North America, South America, surrounding islands. The majority of them have what's called urticating hairs, which are these hairs that they can kick from their abdomen to deter a predator. They're nasty. And the Theraphosa species are known to have particularly nasty urticating hairs. So you don't want those on your skin because they can itch and burn and blister and hurt. And you definitely don't want them in your eyes or nose, which is what might happen to a predator that gets a little too close to them. So I'm going to get the top ready as we talk a bit about what we got here. I don't know if Billy can get, looks like she's getting some beautiful shots of it. I don't want to deter your shots. So if you want to get a nice, good close one of it, that's it. Get right in it close. Zoom right in on that bad boy. Let Billy do her thing here. So what we have her in here is, if Billy wants to back up just a little bit, one of the Sterilite Clear View Latch, I believe they're called, containers. I use these, a lot of these for my larger terrestrial species, my Phormictopus, Pamphibedius, some Theraphosa up to a point. They're 15 quarts or 14 liters and measure about 17 inches long by about 11 inches wide by about 6.5 inches high. So they offer a decent amount of room. I've got probably about 4.5 inches of substrate in the back here. This substrate is an old mixture I have of peat, cocoa fiber, and some vermiculite. I think I might have tossed some sand in for kicks. We have a cork bark hide. We have some leaf litter because I like the way it looks. It just looks so much nicer. And then we have some sphagnum moss in the corners. She will be getting a water dish. Unfortunately, I ordered water dishes. They haven't come in yet. I like the yellow, the white ceramic ones. I think Petco has them. I think you can get them on Amazon. I got a nice big one for this one, but it hasn't come in yet. So she's going to be getting a smaller one until they come in. And again, these are moisture dependent, so you want to make sure whatever you put them in allows for a decent amount of substrate. You don't want to be a Scrooge with these guys and give them only an inch or substrate or something of that nature. I like to give them 4 or 5 inches. This one hasn't burrowed in quite some time. Neither has the other one. However, this does give her the opportunity to go down there, create a burrow if she wants, and hunt from there. Now, as far as growth rate, these guys grow fast. Not quite as fast as my Sturmy and my Blondies did, but they definitely put on decent size. And as you can see over, what did we get her back in 2020? It's been 2 years, and I believe her last molt was around 7 inches or so, 7.5 inches. So she's probably pushing 8 inches now. And again, that's a very leggy 8 inches. At 8 inches, the Theraphosa Blondie and Sturmy are a lot thicker than this one is. So there we go. Theraphosa apophysis or apophysis. I'm trying to think, what am I missing here? Feeding. They eat like pigs. They are awesome eaters. Slings will often take down larger prey items. Juveniles will definitely take down larger prey items. Tom's going to cover this up before this one goes on a walkabout. Not one that I want to wrangle, and we'll open it up if she starts moving the other way. And usually I feed my slings once a week. My juveniles, I feed once a week to every 2 weeks, and then my adults now I've been feeding every 2 weeks or so. And this one will eat either several large crickets, several red runner roaches, a full-grown dubia. After she molted, I fed her a couple of full-grown dubia females, nice big meal there for after her molt. But no, they'll eat great. Temperatures, you hear a lot about the fact that these guys need to be kept at higher temperatures. Mine right now, and when they were at the old house, were kept in the mid to low 70s during the winter time, with it sometimes dipping to 60s. Now that we're at this house, we're usually around 73 degrees unless it gets super cold for a stretch. Sometimes the heat struggles to keep up for a bit, so it may dip down to the 60s for a couple hours or so, but then it bounces back up. I've seen no issues with it. And then the summertime, back in the old house, it was usually right around 79, 80, sometimes 82. Here, it's usually 80 to mid 80s in the summer. So again, Higher temperatures will lead to faster growth rate, but there is no reason to heat these guys if you're not pushing 80 all the time. So there, that should about cover it. Theraphosa, apophysis, or apophysis, the pink-footed baboon. Yep, that works. The pink-footed Goliath bird eater. I'm going with that. I'm terrible with the common names. Beautiful spider. And for the inevitable person that comes on and says that it's just a big brown spider, go away. No, there's always somebody that comes on. There'll be somebody that does it as a joke. But I always have people come on and go, yeah, I don't keep these just big brown spiders. There are subtle hints of pinks on this one. It is mostly brown, but they're so big, so beautiful. Who cares? And the males actually had purple. So they're not all just big brown spiders. There we go. T, apophysis, or apophysis. So this will not likely be her forever home. She'll be in here for a couple molts or so, but I definitely plan on putting her in something much larger and more attractive, probably something around a 15-gallon or so. I have one of my Theraphosa blondie in it, and it seems to offer a lot of size and room to grow. Now, again, these guys get big. They're often overlooked because they're not quite as stout as the Sturmy or Blondie, but I have seen photos of a male that was pushing easily 12 inches. It was just his molt was 12 inches. So he might have been over 12 inches. Big boy, and males are purple. So for folks that want to sit there and make fun of them for just being your typical big brown spiders, not necessarily true. And you can't forget those pink feet when they're little. They're just absolutely adorable. And as far as moisture is concerned, again, for species that like a little bit of moisture, give them some extra substrate. The one mistake I see some people doing is they put these guys in more shallow containers, like 2 inches of substrate, don't give them enough room to really be able to dig and find those moisture levels on the bottom. Plus, those are going to dry out much more quickly than, say, something with 4 or 5 inches of substrate in. So always keep that in mind when setting them up. So that will do it for this one. As always, you know the drill. You can subscribe to me up here. I'm going to go ahead and put the earlier video that I showed some clips from down here because I kind of did a fairly thorough job of covering the care up to that point. And we'll put something else up here. As always, you take the time to comment. I will take the time to respond. Just know it takes me a couple days because I tend to get busy and I get a lot of comments. That'll do it for this one, guys. Stay safe. We'll catch you all next time.